How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Crypto Clout. I am your host, FaZe Crypto, and today we will be talking about the DigiByte community, the future of DigiByte, the current situations that are happening involving blockchain all around the world. Of course, this conversation really couldn't happen without discussing Bitcoin. Of course, the Bitcoin halving, and we do have an interesting video to talk about. A couple of articles. And of course, some very interesting updates, assorted comments, and overall conjecture that I might add in, and of course my own personal sense of humor that I'm sure you guys are very fond of. So the hype is steadily building across the wider cryptocurrency community as the looming Bitcoin mining rewards halving draws closer, as the world grapples with the heavy economic downturn spurred on by the ongoing global pandemic. The value of Bitcoin has been at odds with conventional stock markets, and of course different indicators, so bullish, bearish, and everything in between. This quote goes on to say this halving will see a of course this article sort of does speak for itself. The supply shock has historically led to a material price increase over the following 18 to 24 months. And I think that it will be interesting to see what happens. Of course, a lot of the smaller miners will have to shut their doors. I'm going to play a video in a few minutes that's going to speak upon this topic. But I think that overall, this is a great advertisement for DigiByte, and this is another reason why I'm using this opportunity to actually make use of my platform to discuss the DigiByte community, and of course how what has recently been occurring is probably one of the greatest advertisements for DigiByte, especially while we move forward and we see a lot of these different aspects and variables just sort of culminating, coming together and evolving. And it is interesting. We've got this right here: DigiByte set to beat the short-term hype to win by fundamental intrinsic value, which is, of course, does sort of is like sort of the theme, I'd say, that is probably one of the smartest points that can be made when we talk about the DigiByte community. So we've got Jared Tate actually tweeted a welcome note to newcomers to DGB, and gave a small intro stating DigiByte are 6 to 5 year old, one source decentralized blockchain and community. He clarified that the users did not need anyone's permission to use or build on top of DGB. Jared Tate also clarified, stating that DigiByte is not a token, also stating DGB has been its own independent blockchain and protocol since day one. On January 10th, 2014. And I think that this is definitely interesting. Blockchain independence, and I think that this is really one of the greater advertisements for DigiByte, especially when you consider the world that DigiByte was created in, as opposed to the world that Bitcoin was created in. Of course, Bitcoin having risen up in the earlier 2008, 2009, that was sort of Bitcoin's heyday, and of course 2014 the vision is completely different, and I think that with DigiByte's focus on digital identity and all these other things, password protection, some of the most key fundamental things that have come to light, in particular while we've seen the paradigm shift that's recently occurred due to the pandemic, but of course notwithstanding, it was an inevitability all along, I would say. So in the context of the halving, since we brought it up, I'm actually going to play this. It's interesting. I will play for a few minutes, for like just a small section to help us transition to the next aspect of the conversation.
Welcome back to Fast Money. One of Wall Street's most successful hedge fund managers sending a giant shockwave across the cryptocurrency market today. Paul Tudor Jones reportedly buying Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation. Jones comparing the cryptocurrency to the gold trade back in the 1970s, calling it the fastest horse in this environment. Let's break this bombshell down with our own Bitcoin baller, Brian Kelly. BK, I know crypto Twitter was just on fire today with this.
More so than ever. Crypto Twitter is a funny place, but yeah, I mean, certainly having somebody of Paul Tudor Jones' pedigree and caliber come in and kind of put their stamp of approval on this asset class got everybody really excited.
When making the comparison to gold back in the 1970s, I mean, if you follow the evolution of gold, and Guy probably knows this better than I do, but at one point in time, you're buying gold and the ETF didn't exist. When the ETF existed, it became much more accessible to a lot of different investors, and it sort of it democratized it and also took away that sort of bang for your buck when it comes to the movement of gold because there wasn't scarcity involved with it. Can you see the same thing happening with Bitcoin, especially as there's talks about ETFs as this continues to go mainstream? I mean, if this is truly sort of a flag being planted in mainstream investment, the next step could, in fact, be ETFs.
I mean, it could be. We haven't.
So, you guys get the point. Definitely go and check out. That's an interesting conversation there. You could watch it all on your own, but it is interesting just to see, the different variables that have been coming together in just a short amount of time. When we talk about all these factors, most Bitcoin buyers are in the money ahead of the halving, data suggests. With the recent price action that we saw happening with Bitcoin, it is an we do have some key indicators about blockchain, and this is a bullish sentiment, I would say, in terms of what we could see happening, with how the DigiByte price has been responding. And this is another reason why I'm happy to be making this content for such a great community. I think that the DigiByte community is one of the most aware in the cryptocurrency space, and I think that it's really awesome to see all the different interesting comments that you guys put down below. We definitely do see some really interesting things on that same on that same note. So just shout out to you guys. I think that the fan base that we have on this channel is probably one of the greatest cryptocurrency, definitely one of the most informed. Definitely give yourself a pat on the back. And of course, welcome to all the new subscribers that we've seen, different people who've come from the DigiByte community. And of course, remember, this video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. Of course, I'm not your dad. I'm not your financial advisor. So make sure that you do your own research when it comes to these things, and come to your own conclusions. But this article right here goes on to say, with Bitcoin more than doubling in price since Black Thursday nearly 2 months ago, nearly 85% or 25.79 million of the addresses holding the cryptocurrency are now in the money, according to the blockchain intelligence, which is interesting. Of course, there are still people who bought on the hype train of 2017, and rest in peace. They're still hodling, waiting for that price to get up to 20K. But yeah, just speaking on DigiByte now, it will be interesting just to see how this cryptocurrency, if you want to even refer to DigiByte as an altcoin, I would sort of consider DigiByte as more of a Bitcoin competitor. Mostly on this channel, those are the type of the cryptos that I like to give focus to. It's the projects that I'm passionate about, but also the ones that have a good community. And I think DigiByte really does have that spinal cord, that real a strong backing and support of really smart people, whether it be on DigiByte Twitter or DigiByte YouTube, or any DigiByte on Reddit, or just people who use the currency itself, and of course appreciate the blockchain and all the things that are in store for us in the future. Whether you're a Bitcoin advocate or a Litecoin, Ethereum, any cryptocurrency you can imagine on the list, and we're all in this together. We do need to. And I think that as cryptocurrency community, we do need to spread DigiByte awareness, advocate for the cryptos that are not only beneficial, financially and technologically, and have a lot of ability to grow from an investor standpoint, but I think it's important to look at from a philosophical point of view, and actually the responsibility that we're putting in the hands of these different projects. So it will be interesting to see. But yeah, all that being said, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.